Here we go. We're live again. We're live again back in my shop, this time with the rear wheels and hopefully with audio uh, from the mic. So I'm going to grab some Gloves. That's French. And we'll see how long these last. These were worth their weight in gold during COVID. And I was fortunate enough to have a few extra boxes. That stupid 383 is leaking something. Damn it. Let me grab, I'm going to gun off the other side first. So it'll be a little bit loud at first. And then I promise I won't use the gun until we put the wheels back on. So. You know what I can do? Oh, by the way, this is also brought to you by Rockstar that took me an hour to go find. Let me take the mic off. And I'll just set it here while I'm zooming these off. Need my studs. I just don't want to blow you guys out. I know it can be very loud. Oh, all right. Got it. Bed in. Why is he doing that? Oh, because he goes all the way through. Sorry. These calipers are all, or these rotors are all the way through. So basically, all right. I forgot. Okay. Done. Side. I just double check to make sure I'm going the right way. Our pranksters out there. Hey. Okay. Rear brakes. Yeah, these guys just thread all the way through. So on the other side, I'm just trying to thread them all the way back. All right, let's clip this back on. And I don't know why my phone is buzzing. All right. Here we go. Woo. I already ripped it. So these, you can see they have a different clip. This one has a wear sensor in the back too. So we're going to start off by unplugging that. Do the same thing. These have caps on them. So there These little rubber caps. And then I can't remember. I think that might be a Torx inside on the rear. Same thing. So lift up and flip them up, and you can see the wear sensor on the side. It's weird they put them on the passenger side. I don't know why they do that. I guess there's enough weight on the driver's side. So we need a light. It actually, oh yeah. Well, these pads are actually on this side are fine. And they're actually fine on this side too. So we're not going to replace these brake pads. There's no need to. There's tons of material left on both of these. So I don't need to replace the rears. Plug that guy back in. And that saves me a ton of work tonight. Not a ton, but makes it a lot easier. So yeah, this is a spring-loaded clip here, and this keeps tension on the pad so that the pad can float, is probably the best way to put that, without grinding on the rotor and wearing itself down. And but also, if you push on the brakes, it'll actually use the back brakes too. But most cars, probably 80 or 90% of your braking is up front. They have a thing up front called the proportioning valve. The proportioning valve sends 80 or 90% of the fluid to the front brakes, and then the rest of it to the rears. Now, in computer controlled cars, when you have ABS and stability and traction control and stuff, it actually uses the brakes to manage power. It doesn't add power to wheels, it actually takes power away. And it does that by modulating the brakes. So when you feel traction control kick in, it's actually working one of the four or multiples of the four calipers. It's, grabbing you this way or the fronts, however, in order to stabilize the car. And so you get it to wear different. It will grab 70% maybe in the back to help with a situation where you need stability control. And that's why brake pads wear differently front to rear. But normal daily driving, if you're not doing any kind of weird shit, it will do probably, easy way to think of it is 80% up front, 20% in the back. And in the back here, you have a little window in the caliper that you can look in, and you put a light in there and you look and see, oh, I got tons of brake pad left, or I don't have any brake pad left. So that saves you a lot of work because I don't have to replace these pads now. I can actually take those back and get some money back. These pads are going to be fine for another probably 20, 30,000 miles, as long as I don't do goofy stuff. The front pads definitely need to be replaced. They wore unevenly left to right. They wore more on the outside. Yeah, they wore more on the outside on both. So hopefully with the lube in there, because that's what happens when lube goes away. It pushes harder on one side than it does on the other. So with the lube in there, it should be even pressure, and that should even it out. We had tons of thickness also left on the rotor up front, so we don't need to replace the rotor. Measure thickness, there's minimums, and sorry, I did all that prior to starting the video, but the rotors are fine up front. And now all we have to do is go what's called bed the brakes. And we're going to, bedding the brakes is actually a very easy process. You just got to find a place to do it. You go up to highway speeds, and then you push on the brake pedal as hard as you can before ABS kicks in. You don't want ABS to kick in. And you push as hard as you can all the way to the floor. So like 65 to 5. Don't come to a complete stop. And then go right back up to 65. and then hammer again, no ABS, all the way down to like 5 miles an hour. And do that 3 times, 65.5, 65.5, 65.5, and then let your brakes cool off for about 4 or 5 minutes. That's how you bed your brakes. Now your brake pads are matched up to the brake calipers, and they're in that line along that circumference. That way you get optimal stopping power. The pads will be lined up this way instead of at a little angle, and they'll also be centered instead of a little left or a little right. So what you don't want is pads like this, because then you're not getting braking back here. You're not getting any friction. So you want to make sure they're bedded and they stay centered and they stay level. That's why you bed the brakes. I got that tip from David Zeckhausen years and years and years ago. I've used it on all the cars, and it is absolutely the best way to do it. It also cuts down on squealing and screeching, unless you have like a race pad. If you have like a Carbotech XP20 or anything like that, your brakes are going to screech unless they're crazy hot. It's a full blast track pad, so that's why it's going to screech. So the good news is we can put these back on, and we can take the Mercedes, and tomorrow when it's light out, we'll bed the pads. It's pretty simple. Saves me a ton of time, and I can get the limo back in here and get a bunch of the wiring finished on that thing. So with that stud in there, now I can actually leave the wheel up there, get one of the wheel studs, and bring them back. Hand start all these guys. Otherwise, I got to keep my hand up there and hold him up while I do this. So that's why these little guys are pretty good. Come with a set of 4, or they come as a set of 4. And this zoomed on. If I was keeping this car, I'd probably get new lug studs. These are kind of corroded. There we go. That's one side. I hear my compressor kick on outside, which is always nice. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Come here, you little hider. And get these guys on there. There we go. Lug studs you usually find on European cars, although there's a lot of American cars that are doing it now, and some Japanese cars too. My Jeep actually has lug studs. All right. Again, we'll start at the bottom. We'll start on setting 1. Go to setting 2, and that finishes off our torque. Oh, come back here. Okay. Everybody's torqued. Everybody is happy. We can put the air hose away. The compressor can relax once he fills back up. We can put our socket away and our big gun. We can pull our locks and lower the car. Put my guide tools away because I don't need those again for a while. And I'll do it automatic because the next thing that's coming in here is the limo. So. That's it. We got lucky on that one. When it gets colder in the shop, the lift starts to make a little more noise. But it's 70 in the shop right now, so we're in pretty good shape. That's it. This thing needs cleaned and maybe a nice detail for it, something like that. And it should be good to go. So that's nice. We only had to replace the fronts. The rears are in great shape, actually, surprisingly great shape. Honestly, this car doesn't get driven much, so it's surprising. And there we go. Another set of gloves. On the limo, I don't really need gloves because I'm doing all the electrical stuff, so it's not as important. But also the limo's definitely not as dirty. So there we go. We're done. We'll see if the audio worked out on this, and I'll get a whole bunch more live streaming in the shop and work on the multi-camera setup and all of that stuff. I cannot wait to be portable and go live with you guys, and that's coming like as quick as I can. And I'm doing it on Facebook with multiple cameras and doing it at all the cool locations that I go to. So I'm going to keep doing that with Facebook Live and Instagram. Well, I can't really do it with Instagram, not multiple cameras, but I'll keep doing as much of that stuff as I can. You guys send me messages. Definitely put in the comments, what you want to see. I'm happy to try and accommodate you. And we've got a ton of cars. We've got Brian's Miata is coming in here tomorrow. So maybe we do a Miata Breaks one. And I don't know what else. If you guys have something, hey, show me how to put a 871 blower on a 468 big block. Okay. Let me know what you want to see, and how do I replace fuel injectors on a 96 Miata, whatever. Let me know, and I'll try and get appropriate videos up, and we'll start using other cameras and multiple views and stuff like that. So thanks everyone for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And sorry we didn't get to do the pads on the back, but it's not necessary. So we'll do it on some other car. Maybe I'll have the I'll take the race pads off the Viper and put regular I say street pads, but even the street pads are pretty violent. I'll put regular pads on the Viper, and we'll do rear brakes on that. That one's a little different too because it has a second caliper just for the parking brake, so for the emergency brake. So, and it's the cutest little tiny pads for the parking brake. It's really funny. So we'll do some rear stuff later in the future, and that's it, man. Cars are except for the limo build, all the cars are maintained. All the cars start, run, drive, Everything's great on them. So it's tough, man. When you have 9 cars, keeping all of that running and operating correctly, it's a lot of work, especially when you're by yourself. And I'm the one guy who does this. Uh, cool. So hopefully, you guys enjoyed the Urus last night, which was a ton of fun. Dropped it off at the client today. He's so happy. He's so stoked that seatbelt works, and he's really really happy. And hopefully, you enjoyed the front brakes video that I did earlier. We'll see how all of this stuff works out. Um, I'll let you know about. Um, I'll try and send a notice out that like 5 or 10 minutes before we go live. I'm still figuring out YouTube's rules and how they do all their stuff. So I'll try and give you guys a heads up for tomorrow when we do that with the Miata. So thanks everyone. We'll see you later. Have a great night. Okay. Cool.